Hi, I'm Suraj Bankar. I secured All India Rank 1 in 2020 Indian Forest Service examination, and I'm here to share my strategy with you all. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I did my college from Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, Trivandrum, ISER. I come from a very humble background. My father was a government school teacher who is retired now. My mother is a homemaker, and I have a sister who is also a teacher. I had secured All India Rank 321 in 2018 Civil Service Examination, and I am currently in the Indian Ordnance Factory Service working in Trichy. Let me tell you a little bit about this service. Indian Forest Service is one of the three All India services in India, the other two being IAS and IPS. An All India service means that you will be recruited by the central government and you will be allotted to one of the cadres, and you will be serving your career inside the cadre. Now, Indian Forest Service, the mandate is to implement the National Forest Policy of 1988, which involves forest management, afforestation, reforestation, etc. Then there is wildlife management aspect. Then there is development aspect involving the tribal populations. Also, we have a policing aspect involved in this service. So, I think it's a very well diverse service, and this is a service with a lot of future. Especially since climate change part is also added to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Regarding my motivation to prepare for Indian Forest Services, it started from the time I was in ISER Trivandrum, where I was a KVPA fellow and we had to go for summer projects every year. So my first summer project, I did a project in Theni Forest Division of Tamil Nadu under Dr. H.N. Kumara from SECON. And the project was on mammals of Western Ghats, which in the Theni Forest Division, and the currently recently became Tigers Reserve, Meghamalai Wildlife Sanctuary. Further, in my fourth year, I also did another project in the forest in Kulathoppuzha Forest Range of Trivandrum, where I was working on the flora and working in close association with Myristica swamps.
तो बुक सोर्सेस करंट अफेयर्स में मैं सिविल्स डेली के बारे में बता रही थी. बहुत ही रिच क्वालिटी का कंटेंट आपको मिलता है. अच्छी बात यह है कि अगर आप ऐसे कोई भी टॉपिक है, सपोज इंडो अफगान, उसमें आपको साल भर की जितनी न्यूज़ है वो एक के बाद एक इम्पॉर्टेंट न्यूज़ आपको मिल जाएगी. तो आप वहाँ से एक साल का करंट अफेयर्स हर टॉपिक वाइज रिवाइज कर सकते हैं. आप सिविल्स डेली को ज़रूर एक्सप्लोर करेगा.
I have known about the initiative by Anudeep Dhurishetty sir. He followed the Samachar Manthan of Civils Daily.
Right.
So that was the reason that I've taken the prelims test series and mains test series also.
सेकेंड बार तो जब मैंने मेंस दिया तो आपके थ्रू डायरेक्ट मैंने आंसर राइटिंग में काफी हेल्प मिला. तो जिस चीज का मैं कह रहा था सर, द आर्ट ऑफ आंसर राइटिंग, बिकॉज़ यू हैव टू डिस्प्ले दोस क्वालिटीज व्हिच इज रिक्वायर्ड एज अ सिविल सर्वेंट. तो वो जो आंसर राइटिंग में आपने चीजें बताई थी कि कैसे कैसे इसको पॉइंटेड लिखो, सब टाइटल्स डालो, तो सिविल्स डेली ने काफी हेल्प करा.
So both these experiences really gave me a good perspective into the work of forest department, forest officials, and to be honest, I was very happy working in the forest. I think that the DFO of Theni was the first civil service officer that I met, and the kind of exposure I got over there was really eye-opening. In fact, I happened to be to see a raid that was happening in Theni by the DFO, which was really exciting for a youngster like me at that point of time. I was also a part of the elephant census which happened in 2012 in the Theni Forest Division, where we were clubbed with the forest guards and we used to go with them for the estimation of elephants. So all these experiences gave me a lot of respect and admiration to the service, and I felt like this is a service where I can be happy in and maybe satisfied in as well. So that is my main motivation for thinking about Indian Forest Services. But however, in my first two attempts, I couldn't clear the prelims cutoff for forest services, and only in the third attempt I could get enough marks in my prelims to write the forest service mains. So that is my motivation. Now coming to my preparation, I would like to start from the prelims part. For me, prelims was the most toughest part of the examination, and I was not able to clear forest cutoff in prelims in the first two attempts. I was able to clear the civil service cutoff, and I went on to join the service in my second attempt. However, forest cutoff was always higher than my level of prelims preparation. However, in my third attempt only I was able to clear the cutoff enough for forest services. So I think I can say a few pointers that work well for me in terms of the third prelims. I'm not going into the details of prelims book list and all because it is very much available. I usually stick to the standard books and standard source of current affairs. I would usually pick one standard source of current affairs, any module by one of the academies, whichever I like that year. And I would follow all the standard books in all the basic subjects. I also ensure that I don't skip on any subject, for example, art and culture, environment, science and technology, etc. So that is the basic preparation that I do every year. But I think what made a difference in the last attempt where I got into, I could clear the forest cutoff was that I took a lot more risk than the previous two attempts. I remember in my second attempt I wrote only around 87 questions and I could clear the cutoff for civil services just by 0.66 marks. So I was worried in the third attempt that if I won't be able to clear it. So what I did is that once the paper in 2020 prelims was also a bit more in the analytical in nature. So I realized that this is a paper which is not going to fetch you maximum yield. So if you write 80, you will not get 78 or 79 right. So I had to attempt more questions and I ended up attempting 99 questions at the end. And I think that really helped me in scoring very well in this exam. This I don't really mean to say that everyone should attempt 99 or 100 questions. But however, I think that we need to have more number of attempts so that you have more chance of scoring better. So this is something I actually believe in, and this may or may not work for everybody because my philosophy is that you don't get out of the list because you have so many negative marks. You get out of the list because you don't get enough positive or right answers. So think about this scenario. You wrote all 100 questions and you got 70 right. So even if your all 30 questions you write after that is wrong, still you will be getting around 120 marks and you will be clearing the UPSC civil service and forest service cutoff. So I kind of believe in this, and it may not work for everybody, but this was my viewpoint. So I went on and attempted more number of questions. Even in this year 2021, since my interview happened after the 2021 prelims, I went on to write the prelims as well. Here also I wrote around 96 questions, which really helped me to score better as well. So this is one area I used to focus on, and I think again, attempting a lot more questions, you need to have more experience and you need to have more skill set. So you need to do a lot of test series, you need to understand how to eliminate questions, how to eliminate the options, and how to think in the line UPSC is thinking. So this comes with practice. For example, there was a question this year regarding a sports award from USA. So I think there was one sentence which said that Roger Federer got all four awards or maximum number of awards in this, and four times awards in this, and the second sentence was that maximum number of awards was gotten by F1 racers, which was very contradictory. So I could think of a way to eliminate one of these options and I could come at an answer. I have never even heard about this award yet. So what I am trying to say is that this is a very simple example. I know many of the people who wrote exam this year would have made this right, but similarly we can think about a lot of ways to come to elimination, to do elimination and to get answers. You can even think of some unconventional ways. For example, last year there was a question from ancient India where the question was regarding some word from ancient India and asked what is the meaning of this. I haven't heard about that word, but what I did is that I tried to write this word in my native language, in my Malayalam, and this was supposed to be a Sanskrit word, and Malayalam has a lot of similarity with Sanskrit. So I converted this word into Malayalam. I tried to write the word in Malayalam in different ways, and one way when I wrote, I got an idea. I eliminated two options with it, and finally I could get the answer right. Now this is an extreme case, but what I am trying to say is that you can do a lot of jugaad in between in eliminating answers, and you need to practice this. This doesn't come in one day. You need to practice this and try to stick to the basics and try to cover every area as possible. Don't go by the idea that UPSC will ask certain set of questions this year. Next year they will ask this set of questions in that. Don't go to UPSC prelims with any preconceptions. Go with an open mind. And even if you get the first few questions very tough, which was the case for me in this prelims, go ahead and try to write the next set. You take each question as a separate bowl, like when you're handling playing cricket, you take each bowl separately. So similarly, you take each question separately. One question does not affect your answer to the other question. focus on each question at a time and try to do your best, try to think in the best way possible and try to come to a conclusion. If you're feeling very much stuck between two options, leave it there. Don't fill up the answer right now. You come back to the question. So maybe you will see another side to the question. So these are some practical tips that I can think of. I haven't done any special things for prelims, and I don't think so I will be the right person to comment on this. But for us mains, I think I have a few ideas that I would like to share. Forest mains is very different from civil service mains in the fact that in civil service mains you have a total of 9 papers, and out of this 7 are scoring, including 4 GS, 1 essay and 2 papers, from 1 optional and 2 qualifying papers, that is your native language and English. Here in forest services you just have 6 papers, but you have 2 optionals. So 2 optionals becomes 4 paper, and each of these paper is 200 marks each, and 2 other paper, one general knowledge and the other one general English. Now the problem is that general English over here is scoring in nature and it's 300 marks. So you need to do well in general knowledge and general English papers as well. I'll start with each paper and I'll try to explain how each paper should be dealt with, how to prepare a strategy for each paper, and I'll come to the optionals after that. And in optionals I'll try to explain my optionals, how I prepared it, but it may not work for every optional. So I'll try to give a general pointer on how to prepare for the optionals. The general knowledge paper, it's not a GS paper, it's called a GK paper in forestry. GK paper is similar to the GS paper in several ways, in the sense that there are questions in polity, economy, etc. If you are preparing for civil services and forest together, you will not need any special preparation for these 2 areas, polity and economy. However, the next 4 areas, so in GK paper there are around 24 questions. It will be divided into 6 parts. Each part one area. For example, first will be history, then usually comes polity, then economy, and then rest. So, but when it comes to history, I think that the GK paper is slightly different from the GS papers we are seeing, mainly in the sense that the questions in history comes from some different angles as well. For example, I can think of is that there was a question on administrative policy of Cholan Empire in the 2020 paper. And one more question on administrative policy of Krishnadevaraya in 2019. So these 2 questions doesn't normally come in UPSC CSE paper. So administrative policy explaining a part. So these kind of direct history questions can be expected. As well as in modern India paper, modern India part, only 1 question or 2 questions may come from modern India, but still the question may be very direct and not necessarily analytical. They may even ask you the events that happened from so and so, and they have asked this as well. So you need to look at this and you need to understand the previous year question paper, which brings me to my first very important point. One of the most important part in preparation for forestry or for a service or in general for any exam for that matter is to clearly have an idea about your syllabus and your question papers. So both these areas should not be neglected. So there was a senior who used to tell us that the syllabus and the question paper, previous year question papers are 2 gurus you can't neglect, and 2 gurus you can trust at any point of time. And I believe in this. The point is that you should be very clear about the syllabus, what UPSC is asking of you. Second thing, you should look at the previous year question paper. In my case, I took a separate book for this. I analyzed around 10 years of previous year question paper for all 6 papers, and what I did is chapter wise I segregated and I wrote down, I didn't copy paste it, I wrote down the questions for each chapter from history. For example, in GK I divided into 6 chapters, and in each 6 chapters I wrote down what questions were asked, and this actually helps you in understanding the depth as well as the width of the questions that are being asked in various chapters in the examination. What I mean by depth is that it tells you how much deep you have to study. So you should have a very clear idea about both these. Only then you can really prepare for this exam well and not waste your time on unnecessary things. This strategy applies to every paper, especially in the optional paper, but even in GK this applies. Now in GK paper, I think in forest service examination, one very important aspect you have to look at is some areas which are not really that deeply asked in UPSC, but which needs to be studied extensively for forest paper. These include biotechnology, environment, science and technology, and geography, especially some human geography part. So I think that these areas, especially biotechnology and science and technology, very specific questions are asked. A good example is last time there was a question on MRI, and previously there was a question on squid. So these areas, unless you know this answer, you can't write this, you can't bluff these questions. I actually did a lot of work in these areas. I tried to cover a lot of current affairs magazines and a few other sources to see some very hot topics in biotechnology, in environment, science and technology, etc. And I wrote some very basic notes down, and I used it extensively as well. I think I got a few questions directly from these notes I made as well. So this is one area you shouldn't ignore. As well as I told you before, history is one area which you should prepare differently from the civil service examination. But the other two areas, polity and economy, I think it sticks mostly to the UPSC style, and you can get through without any special preparation. But one thing I want to tell you again and again is that GK paper is often ignored by people. People just focus on the two options. They think that two options are there, I have to prepare that alone. But without GK has almost 300 marks, and GK, the marks difference in GK is very high. Our marks list are not out yet, but from what I gathered from previous year's mark list, it can go up to 170, 160, 170 and below to much lower level, 130, 120 below that level. So that's a big difference of 30 to 40 marks in just one paper. The same thing applies to the second paper, general English paper. Now here, this is one case where UPSC is actually making a English language paper compulsory, and you have to be prepared for this. This is again another majorly overlooked paper, but I actually did a lot of work in this paper because I scored very less in my 10th and 12th English, and I was worried about my English proficiency. So I did quite a bit of work in this paper. So when I explain this paper, I think that the main areas in this paper is one, there's an essay which you can handle with your essay preparation from UPSC. Then there are two, a letter and a report. Then there is a précis, there's a comprehension, and there is around 50 marks of grammar. So that's all about this this exam. So grammar is very serious, and for grammar I really believe that you have to take a proper grammar book. Any grammar book is sufficient. I don't remember which grammar book I took, so I can't comment on this, but you take any good grammar book and you see the areas which UPSC has asked in Forest General English, and you do that again and again. You try to do as many as possible. For example, me and a friend, we both sat down, and idioms is an area which has been asked every year. So we sat down and we did at least 150 to 200 idioms before we went to the exam. And there is another area, noun to adjective and adjective to noun. Here also we did quite some work because this is not something that we do usually. It doesn't come naturally to us. So especially in those areas which you don't feel very confident, work and put in a lot of effort and do as much as possible. For example, idioms, if you do 150, 200 idioms, at least out of the 5 idioms that comes, at least 3 or 4 you will already know. So only one idiom you will have to guess. So that will give you a much more advantage as somebody who hasn't seen any idioms yet. So they'll be guessing mostly. So if you're even if you're very proficient in English, please make sure you work on the grammar part. The second part which I want to focus on is the précis and comprehension. Why I'm taking this together is that both these requires, people do a mistake in both these, and I used to do the same mistake when I was in my school +2 time. Précis and comprehension, what people usually do is they take words out of the paragraphs, they just copy paste it over here. They just pick words. Précis, you have to reduce it to 1/3. So they take words out, they put it over there, and they believe that that will make a good answer. Now what you need to understand that you are not asked to copy paste from the question paper. That's not what they are testing on you. What they are testing is your proficiency in English. And why they are asking précis, you should think in that way. Why they are asking a précis? Because they want to see if you can make a bigger paragraph into a smaller paragraph. So what you should do is that you understand the theme. If you are not able to understand the entire theme together, take one paragraph, try to minimize it and try to write it in your own words. The same principle applies in terms of comprehension. And since I was not very confident about my précis, I did at least around 8 or 9 précis before I went. And comprehension I did not do any, but I made sure that I didn't write anything directly from the comprehension, but rather I wrote my own version, my own words. I think report and letter is the easier part of the paper, but you need to have a clear idea about the format. Google it, find it, and then use that format very clearly, and you'll get a good mark. Now, I don't know how much I scored in English paper, but I think I did a lot of groundwork in English as well, which might have paid rewards in my case. Coming to the elephant in the room, the two optionals. Now, this is a paper with 2 optionals, and for most of us, we won't have a common optional between UPSC Civil Service Examination and the Forest Service Examination. I'll start from the selection of optionals. Now, from this point, people are very confused, and what you need to understand is that when it comes to optionals, you need to look for 2-3 things. The most important thing, obviously, is their interest. See, optional is a subject you are going to spend a lot of time on, and unless you are happy or comfortable with your optional, I don't think you are going to do well in your subject. So that is one area, but that is not enough. You need to see if this optional is scoring. Choosing a non-scoring optional or choosing an optional which is not very scoring for a lot of people can put your chances in hold. And the third thing I believe is the availability of resources. So in my case, since I had limited time to prepare for my optionals, I decided to take classes for both my optionals. I took forestry and geology as my optionals. I chose these two basically because these were the most common optionals taken by the students for forest services, and forestry mainly because since I believe that this will be very important when you get into the service, and I wanted to study that. Geology because it was the most commonly taken optional, and I think the syllabus is also pretty straightforward, pretty small, and I believe that you can complete the syllabus within the small period of time, at least to the amount you need for the examination. But then again, since I was a newbie to both these subjects and both these are science subjects, I decided not to take much risk and I went for classes. For forestry, I took classes at Shankars, and I believe that the classes really helped me in preparing well for this examination. In forestry, apart from the classes, what I focused on was the basic standard book Manikandan and Prabhu, and some YouTube videos really helped me in between to understand some concept which I was not clear about. So I think that these are the areas I focused on. So a few pointers regarding forestry paper, what I want to tell you is that even in both, I'll say some common things. One is what I explained before in terms of when I explained the general English. You need to first divide you see the syllabus first, you divide the syllabus according to your need, according to your understanding into chapters, and you find the previous year question paper for at least the last 5 years, maximum up to 10 years. You take these questions, you divide it, and you understand the depth and width of the area you have to cover. For some students, this may seem difficult in the beginning. So don't do it in the beginning. You start studying, start having a base, and then do it. Then you will have better understanding. Then you will be able to, for example, in geology, I was not able to do this in the beginning because I had a zero understanding of the subject. But after a couple of weeks, I started getting an idea. So I could divide this and I could understand where this question belongs. That much knowledge I got by that time. So you can do it at different times, but don't do it too late. Please make sure you do this separation, and please do it yourself. Don't depend on somebody's ready-made things because you won't be working on it. Only when you work on it, you are reading these questions again and again. And once you are studying the subject, you will remember, this question was there. So this memory was there with me whenever I was studying, and this actually helped me to focus on those things that are important. In forest service examination, I have seen in both the optionals for forestry as well as geology questions repeating again and again. So these questions it will stay with you, and you will be preparing these very well. And when it comes to the exam, you will save a lot of time because you will be writing very fast because you already know the answer, and you will get a lot more marks than otherwise. So do focus on that part. Now, after the common pointers, I believe that in terms of forestry, a few things are very important. In forestry paper, focus on the core areas and try to complete at least those core areas before you go to the exam if you have short of time. The core areas include silviculture systems, mostly comes in the paper 1. Then silviculture of mangrove and coal desert system. Then there is tree improvement and breeding. Some aspects of agroforestry, social forestry, JFM, etc. So these are the main areas. The other areas like forest soil management or biodiversity management, etc. Biodiversity especially, you will have some idea if you have studied well the environment part in civil services. So you will have some idea. So what I'm not saying that don't study this, but focus on the core forest areas first. Try to get this right, and then go ahead and do the less core forest areas. In paper 2, similarly, you focus on the more core areas, which includes the working plan, mensuration, then I think forest management, forest resource utilization, etc., and forest legislation as well. So these are the things I can think of right now. I may be missing one or two topics, and give less focus to those areas like environment or and those you can actually write a decent answer even without studying Manikandan and Prabhu. So when you are reading Manikandan and Prabhu, focus on these areas first, get a good grasp of this, and then go ahead and try to finish off the syllabus. Another area in for example, one area I want to focus on in forestry is silviculture of trees. Now, this is an area which is very controversial among the students. Some people prepare this extensively. There are around 36 species of trees they have mentioned, from Tectona grandis to some very rare species. So, here you have to choose what to study. How do you choose? You go to previous year question paper. You see how many questions are asked, what all are mostly repeated, and study maybe around 10 to 15 of them very clearly, and go ahead. Even if some random question comes, understand it's an outlier, and don't panic because that outlier came in. You can always manage. So I don't think learning 36 trees and their proper silviculture completely is good for your brain or good for your actual preparation. So this is my opinion. If you are really good at by hearting things, then you can go ahead. But I think that this is an area where you should be smart about, and you should prepare based on the previous year question paper very importantly. I also think that you need to, there are few things that fetch you a lot of marks in forestry. This is a technical subject. So writing some of the keywords, writing scientific names, you should be writing scientific names and you should be writing it properly. So when you are writing the scientific name, if you are not writing it properly, you'll actually may lose mark rather than getting more marks. So practice this. One thing happened to me is that in the first paper, I realized that I was writing the second part with a capital, the two words, for example, Tectona grandis when I am writing, or Shorea robusta when I was writing both with a S and a R capital. Later only I realized that the R should be small. And you may think that this is a small thing, but for a forester, for a person who is checking your paper, this is a very important thing. And this shows if you actually know how to write a scientific name. So if you are not familiar with scientific names, please write and practice. Don't make the mistake I did. I had to go back and correct each and every areas I did. At least I remembered within the exam. Now, I think that's what I want to tell about forestry paper. Most areas are covered in Manikandan and Prabhu, but you have to be careful when you're preparing even with Manikandan and Prabhu. It's a very big book and you need to be selective. Go for the core areas first, which I mentioned. Core forestry areas first, and try to attempt those core areas as well. I think that actually fetches you more marks. I did that. There are people who believe the other side as well. You can take the easier questions, but I think as a technical paper, if a technical person is checking it, I think that writing silviculture questions will be much more rewarding than writing an environment question or biodiversity question. And you should also remember that a serious aspirant, a non-serious aspirant will always write environment wala question. But you can stand apart by writing the core areas with proper examples, proper like scientific terms, etc. But here you have to be careful, don't misfire, don't go ahead and write the wrong examples and fetch negative marks. Also focus on your drawings. Here you need to, but drawings should be your own. You don't have to draw very intricate figures. I'm very bad at drawing figures, but I still manage to draw figures. I've heard some people using multiple color pens, but I personally think that it is a waste of time because you'll be losing a lot of time in drawing rather than writing more points. So I didn't do that personally, but I've heard people doing that. I used a different pen to draw because so that it will stand out, but that's it. But then ensure you label it. You put it in a box, you label figure 1 and you write what it is. So these are very small things. You might feel that these are very small things to be mentioned, but see, when it comes to UPSC, each mark counts. And when you're doing this again and again, the examiner will notice that you are doing it properly, and at some point or other you might get 1 or 2 marks extra, and that counts at the end of the day. Coming to my second optional, geology. I believe this is, again, I went for a class for geology. I attended the class at Insights on India, and the classes were really good. And the most important aspect that came to me through the class was he was teaching us with notes. What I did is that after the classes, I built upon those notes. I referred to all the standard books from Bangar. I used, there was a note by Prajesh Jana sir, so it is available with a lot of teams in Delhi. So I ordered one and I was using that. I also used Tulane University notes and a lot of YouTube videos. Whenever I was not understanding a concept, I went to YouTube videos and that cleared my idea and I put that in my notes. So I think that note making is one core area in geology, because geology's syllabus is limited and you can make note. There is no one book like Manikandan and Prabhu you can refer. You need to have multiple books. Bangar wala text is good, but the problem is that it's a very concise book and most people won't understand Bangar in the first go. I didn't understand personally. So I had to depend on my classes and then read Bangar, then it all made sense to me. So I didn't stop with my classes, I built up on it, but the base was that only. Now in geology, when you start preparing, the same logic applies. You first divide the syllabus into smaller parts, you find previous year question papers, you put it down in each part and you understand the depth and width you need to prepare only that. And here also I need to mention that don't be afraid about outlier questions. That will come and that is going to come again and again, but you have to understand that is exactly as the name suggests, outlier hai. So you don't have to prepare very extensively in that and waste your time. Those questions which are already come as outlier questions in the last 10 years, you just prepare some basic notes, maybe 100 words or 200 words, you basically prepare so that in case it gets repeated, you can write it. But more than that, if you go and explore this area, I think each of these areas will be too much to explore and you'll be wasting a lot of time. And coming to that's all I have to say about in geology. And coming to in general, what I think is that forest service examination is one exam where you don't have a lot of time. So time is your constraint and time you have to manage properly if you want to clear. And you have to take all the 6 papers very seriously, balance between them. Don't take anything for granted if you want to qualify this examination. Again, I don't know my marks yet, so I don't know which paper I scored better, which paper I scored less. So I am not going to comment on that. But I think that you need to have a balance. I try to balance my preparation. I give enough time for even English when many people skip that paper. And regarding time management, I would like to mention one small advice. My senior, Ganesh, he was my batchmate in 2019 batch and he is currently an IFS officer. So he told me this small idea. It seems like a very rudimentary thing to say, but it really helped me a lot. He told me that, see, forest, you don't have enough time to prepare. So don't stop reading and keep reading until the moment you enter the hall. Why he told me this is in a context is that he told me that most people will give up on forest before the exam even starts. You just have around 40 to 50 or 60 days maximum. You have 2 huge optionals to prepare. You are nowhere near to completing both these optionals. Maybe one option you did well, the other you don't know anything. And you start panicking. So what most people will do is either they decide that they don't want to write this exam and they quit this exam altogether, or they decide that they are not good enough for this exam and they stop preparing, or they become lethargic in the last 10 to 15 days. And the same thing happened to me. Before around 15 days before the exam, I thought that I may not qualify this time. I felt very bad and I called Ganesh, and Ganesh told me everybody feels this way and the key is to keep preparing. The key is to not stop preparing till the moment you enter the exam hall. And I followed this in letter and spirit. I remember once the security had to shout at me to get into the hall. So you may think that this is a very rudimentary thing to say, but I am a person who doesn't usually do the last minute reading. I just prepare on the previous day. The next day I feel like I should be more relaxed when I go to the exam. But here in forest, I think it's a more technical exam, and more knowledge you have, the better you can write. And actually, with just this advice, I think I wrote at least 60 marks questions in a better way. I'm not saying 60 marks I got extra, but 60 marks wala questions at least I wrote in a better way. A good example I can tell you is that Australian bushfire, there was a question in GK. And I know about Australian bushfires, but since I didn't prepare for civil service examination, I didn't know the technical aspect of it. And this is a geography question. You shouldn't write this in a very layman way. You should write the geographical aspects of it. Just before entering the exam, I remembered this Australian bushfire incident and I just googled it and I noted down a few geography points. I saw these questions, I was so happy. I wrote this question first and then moved on. So this way I could actually get a few marks. Maybe I could have scored 2 or 3 marks more in that question, but each mark counts. So I think that this was one advice that really helped me a lot. So I think that the core idea of the advice is that it doesn't matter how you feel before the exam. Forest exam, everybody feels underprepared because of the shortage of time. So even people who skip civil service examination feels underprepared. The key is to just go and write it. Just go and give the exam and you have a chance. Just make sure that you write whatever you know in a good way and come out of the exam hall and let's see what happens. So for those people who get qualified for forest and you have the eligibility, please don't skip the exam. go and give the exam and see what happens for. So that's about the main important part of the exam, that is the mains. Coming to the interview part, forest services interview, this was my first forest service mains and definitely my first forest service interview as well. So I have attended 2 civil service interviews before, back in 2017 exam and 2018 exam. But this exam, this interview or this personality test, as the UPSC calls it, is slightly different from the civil service examination personality test. The main difference comes in the fact that in this exam, the technical aspect of your knowledge is tested more than in the civil service interview. What I mean by technical aspect is that they are trying to look your eligibility as a forester, as a Indian Forest Service eligible candidate. So they will be more asking you on topics like forestry, forest areas, then as forestry as a subject, environment and ecology, and many questions in those regions. So I think that almost 85% of my interview was based on environment and forest, and that actually is something you can predict and you can prepare very well in advance. So for this interview, what I understood this technicality of the interview, and I decided to prepare very well, because technical interview you should have knowledge, otherwise you will not be able to bluff your way out. Just by confidence you won't be able to clear it. So me and 3 of my friends, we started a group immediately after the mains results came out, and for around a month every day we sat together. We were in different places, so we had a like video call every day, and we used to prepare one topic by each person. We will discuss it, we will share the notes and make sure that everyone is knowledgeable. And by the time that 1 month ended, we were pretty confident in our home state, the forest of our home state, the details of all those things, and many of the environment issues all throughout India. And later on I built on this. So I think that this is one area that really helped me. This knowledge base was something which really helped me, that helped me with my confidence as well. During the interview also, I got 1 or 2 questions from my DAF, like why IFS and those kind of questions. But after that, the entire interview was based on environment, ecology, etc. For example, at that time 2 floods were happening, one in Uttarakhand and one was in Kerala. So they asked me about both these floods, the reasons for both these floods, the different details of these cases. They asked me specific issues of environment from my home state, which I was not expecting really. They asked me about Attapadi issue. They asked me about Plachimada issue, which is a very old issue, but they had a very good knowledge about it. Since we prepared these areas, I could answer this authentically rather than just saying some random facts and sounding not very good. So I think preparing well in this technical aspects helped me a lot. Now I would like to mention another very important aspect which nobody really talks about in forest service interview. This was talked to me by my sir, Karthikeyan sir, and I took 2 one-on-ones with sir. So in the first one-on-one, after the one-on-one, I was feeling very good. I was feeling like, okay, I answered most of the questions, I did a good job. But after my interview, sir told me that you didn't do a good job, and I was surprised. The reason he told me is that I didn't hear a forest service candidate, I heard a layman speaking something about environment. So then he told me how to structure my answers. So I can give an example to make this understand. For example, he asked me about Western Ghats. What is Western Ghats? And I started saying that Western Ghats is a group of mountains and so on and so forth. He told me, you are a forestry student, you are an environment student, and you are a person who wants to become a forest service officer. You should mention the technical side, you should be more structured in your answer, and I improved my structure later on, and this way of structuring I improved, I put it in every one of my answers. So for example, there was a question asked to me about Myristica swamps, because I worked in that area. So I started my answer by saying that Myristica swamps is a evergreen ecosystem which is lying in the valley regions in some specific areas. Then I started to say the areas which lies in Goa, Uttarakhand and many parts of Kerala. Then I started to explain why it is called Myristica swamps, because of the family name. Then I went on to explain the ecological aspect of the Myristica swamps. So I hope you are getting what I am saying. So this was a continuous structuring, starting from the forestry aspect, moving to the environment aspect, and then moving on to the current management aspect. I even mentioned the fact that the Kaava concept, which is the sacred groves concept in Kerala, some of the Myristica swamps have become sacred groves. So by this way of structuring, I actually show that I have a very wide knowledge of this area, the entire topic, and that I think this kind of answering you need to practice if you want to show that you have a good knowledge. You may have enough knowledge, but you may not be able to tell them that you have enough knowledge. So that is one thought I want to leave with you regarding the Indian Forest Service interview. So I think that's it about the Indian Forest Service examination. But I think that Indian Forest Service examination, or civil service examination for that matter, is an exam which requires a lot of dedication and hard work. But at the same time, this requires a lot of conviction from our part and confidence as well, especially in the interview stage. One thing I want to tell the people, the aspirants, is that you need to balance between the preparation and your personal life and your mental health as well, so that you maintain a proper bodily as well as mental health when you are preparing for this examination. Without both, you cannot clear this examination. So you need not do extreme terms. Whenever you are studying, you make sure that you study properly and you study dedicatedly without any disturbances, and make sure that you find times for yourself, your loved ones, as well as your mental health as well. So on that note, I would like to say thank you. I would like to thank DKT for this opportunity, and all the best for everyone who is preparing for Indian Forest Service examination. I hope you all will come out with flying colors. Thank you.